Hi everybody! So the idea behind today is to talk to you about the zippers. We're going to be talking about lots of different types of zippers and why you might want to use them and the different things you can use to get the best results from those zippers. I think it's one of the things that people tend to find most daunting. Especially if they're a beginner sewer. Zips and buttonholes seem to be the thing that kind of put people off. And I don't know if it's because you're just getting used to fabric and then suddenly you have to deal with a piece of hardware, or whether it's because the idea of sewing over the teeth of the zipper, you're worried about maybe damaging your machine in some way, or something along those lines, but people just seem to be a little bit intimidated by them. So the idea behind today is to give you a rundown on a few different types of zip, why you might want to use them, the different feet that you would use when you're sewing them on, and a few different rules and things to follow and bits to know about, so that you get a good grounding so that you can start dealing with them in confidence. So this is a regular zip. So it's got a regular zipper head. Sorry, it's black. The only ones I've got home are black. It's a bit difficult to see, but it's got normal teeth that you can see, they're visible, and then at the end you have a little stopper, and that means that when you open the zipper up, the stopper stops it from coming all the way off the end, and you've also got a stopper at the other end as well. Now that's one of the good things about having a pre-cut zip, so one that's cut to length for you, is it will have zipper stops at either end. The thing to bear in mind when you're buying zips that are pre-cut is the measurement. So your pattern would, for example, would give you a measurement for a 9-inch or a 12-inch or a 22-inch zipper, and then you would go and you would find something at that length. Now sometimes your zippers will be labelled, so you'll be able to see this is an 8-inch zipper, or 22 centimetres if you're working in centimetres. Other times they're not, and you would need to measure them. Now when you're measuring your zipper, you don't measure the whole length of the zipper from the edge of fabric to the edge of fabric. You measure where the zipper teeth themselves are. So this is where the top stop is, and this is where the bottom stop is. And you would take your ruler and you would measure from the top of one tooth to the end of the other. And this zipper is measuring in at just about 7.5 inches, maybe 8 inches, something like that. Yeah, so from the teeth of one end all the way to the teeth at the end. You don't measure the actual fabric. So if I show you with this one's clearly labelled an 8-inch zip, and if I take this and I lay it against my ruler here, you can see the teeth stop at exactly 8 inches. So this is an 8-inch zip. You're not measuring the fabric, you're measuring where the actual zipper teeth themselves are. There we go. That's your first rule. So this is a plastic zipper. You can see the teeth are made of plastic. This is the same zipper, but the teeth are made of metal. The difference being obviously this is a bit more hard wearing. It gives you a different look if you're making something with a metal zipper rather than a plastic zipper. But the big difference is how you handle them. So with a plastic zipper, you can sew straight over the teeth of the zip. Every once in a while you might break a needle. If you're concerned about sewing over the teeth of the zipper, you can hand crank your machine as you're going over them, to make sure you're not kind of forcing it through, but otherwise you should be absolutely fine sewing over this with a sewing machine and you'll be having no problems at all. Don't try and sew over a metal zipper with your sewing machine because you'll just break a needle and cause yourself heartache that you don't need. So if you're going to be using a metal zipper, you don't sew over the teeth of the zipper. What you would do, if you wanted to sew across it, you would sew up to here and then stop. You'd lift your presser foot to release the tension on the top threads, and you would just push your zipper through and then drop your presser foot back again at the other end and then carry on sewing. So you don't actually sew over this piece here at all, you kind of skip it. Yeah? So regular zipper in plastic and a regular zipper in metal. There we go. That's a regular zipper. If you're sewing a regular zipper, you're going to use a regular zipper foot. Looks a bit like this. When I'm talking about them rather in my sewing classes, I always refer to this bit as the ski, the bit that kind of sticks out the front there is the ski, because I find it kind of skis along the side of your zip. So when you're sewing one of these zippers with this zipper foot, the ski kind of skis along a bit like going along the side of a train track with the teeth of the zipper. So that's what I call the ski. Then there are two sides here that your the shank as it comes down to catch the presser foot can clip onto either the left side or the right side, depending on which side of the zip you want to sew down. And then your needle will penetrate here where the two little holes are, again depending on whether you're sewing on the right or the left hand side of the zipper. And the idea behind that is that when you're sewing down the side of the zipper, because your ski, as we call it, runs along the side of the teeth here, it means your needle can get as close as possible to the teeth of the zipper without actually sewing over the teeth themselves. So it lets you get really, really close. You don't need a zipper foot to sew on a zipper, but you get a better result if you use a zipper foot because it allows you to get closer to the teeth of the zipper, which gives you the nicer finish. So that's your regular zipper foot, and that's the kind of zipper foot you'll find included with most modern machines these days when you get given one or you buy your first machine. You can buy them separately just on Amazon or eBay or wherever your local manufacturer or distributor or local haberdashery is. You can buy these separately as well, and they're not very expensive. Okay, so that's a regular zipper. We'll move those to the side. The other type of zipper I'm going to show you is still a regular zipper, but this is a continuous zip. So the difference being, these ones you buy cut into particular lengths and they have stoppers on either side of them. This one is not. So this is 5 meters of zipper, and included with it are 10 sliders. And then you would simply measure the zipper that you want, slide your zipper slide onto it. There's a little bit of finesse to it, but they get quite easy after a while. And then you would chop that to size, literally just chop across it with a normal pair of scissors. Don't use your nice fabric shears, though, use paper scissors. And then you would chop that to size, and that would be the zip that you want. You just have to bear in mind, because it hasn't got a zipper stop on it, you can just unzip the whole thing and the zipper head will just come back off again, which isn't good once you've just sewn it into something. So sometimes you can buy zipper stoppers that you can clamp onto the sides. Sometimes you can very carefully use a lighter to just melt the plastic teeth if it's a plastic one so they don't come off. Or you can use a whip stitch with a hand sewing needle and just whip around the teeth themselves to form a stopper that the zipper slider can't go past to stop it coming off the edge. But these ones are nice. They're a lot cheaper than buying the pre-cut ones. This kind of zipper on its own is about £2, something like that, whereas you can buy a massive long reel of it for maybe £5, and that'll last you for a very long time indeed, and it comes in all sorts of different colours. This is a nice silvery grey that tends to go with a lot of things, but you can buy them in all sorts of colours, and again you can always buy more sliders as well if you need to. So that's a continuous zip as opposed to a pre-cut measured zip, and you would still sew that on just like a normal zip with your regular zipper foot. Then we're going to talk about invisible zippers. So an invisible zipper is the kind of zipper that you see in women's wear, dresses, ball gowns, nice summery blouses. The idea behind it is, as its name would imply, is invisible zipper. Once it's sewn in, you're not supposed to be able to tell it's there at all. The only thing you should be able to see is the head of the zipper pull, and you can generally tell the difference between an invisible zipper and a regular zipper because the zipper pulls on the invisible zipper are much smaller and more delicate. Can't get this one to lie flat now. There we go. Than the heads on the regular zipper. These ones are a lot smaller. And this is the right side of the zipper. If you turn it over, you'll see the teeth of the zipper on the invisible zipper are on the wrong side. They're kind of flipped through to the back. And that's because when you have sewn the zipper in, it should all disappear inside, so that on this side you just see the fabric for the actual dress or the blouse or whatever it is you're making. And you can't actually see the zipper itself. Now, the key to sewing on an invisible zipper really nicely is two things. First of all, before you install the zipper, you have to use a very low setting, important, very low setting on your iron, and you have to flip the zipper over, and you have to roll the teeth out of the way and then press along. That allows you to get much closer to the teeth of the zipper and gives you a proper invisible finish. If you try and sew the zipper without pressing the zipper teeth out of the way, you'll be sewing along here. And that's pretty close, but by the time you open the zipper up, you can see there's at least another couple of millimetres there, or 1/8 of an inch, that wouldn't be covered when it was actually on the garment. So it's important that you press those teeth out of the way so that you can then, when you are sewing, get as close as you can to the teeth. Gives you the best invisible finish. The other thing that's really helpful when sewing an invisible zip is one of these, which is an invisible zipper foot. And the invisible zipper foot looks like this, and underneath it you will see a channel, and the idea of that channel is you're supposed to be able to run the zipper foot right over the teeth of the zipper itself, and then when your needle sews in, it sews almost on top of the actual teeth themselves. Once you've rolled the teeth out of the way, you can get right up close to it. It gives you a really good invisible finish. So that's an invisible zipper foot, and again, they're not very much money. You can buy them online, generic ones that fit most low shank modern machines these days for not very much money, either a couple of quid or so. Your machine may come with one. Some machines like your Bonina and your Pfaff will have special ones, but most, Genomes, Jukies, that kind of thing, Brothers and Singers will use these kinds of generic feet, and they're perfectly good. So that's the best kind of result for your invisible zipper. And you can also get invisible zipper rather than cut to size like this one with stoppers. You can also buy invisible zipper on a roll, a continuous roll like this one. So I'm going to be careful here as I come to the edge not to just whip that zipper head off, because it would just come all the way off. But you can also buy it on the roll. So this is 6 meters of chain with 12 sliders. And this one I bought originally for making nursing tops, because the sliders, when I can find them, there we go. The sliders can be put in the middle of the nursing top so that you can open it both from the left and from the right, or just the left or just the right. So this one's quite handy for that. So you can buy it as a continuous length as well. And again, it also comes in all sorts of different colours. This one's white. White just tends to go with a lot of things, doesn't it? Okay, so that's your invisible zipper. We'll pop that over to the side. I also want to show you this invisible zipper, which is, as you can see, much longer. So this is designed for a dress, a full-length kind of dress, which is 22 inches or 56 centimetres. So they do come in really good long lengths as well. But again, this is an invisible zipper. So you don't just have to get the short ones, you can get really long ones as well that are cut to size. And then lastly, the other kind of zipper I want to talk to you about is an open-ended zipper. So this kind of zipper, again, has stops at the top, but it comes all the way down. And then at the bottom, it's like a coat zipper, the kind of zipper you have on a coat or a hoodie, where you can completely undo it at the bottom entirely. And then if you want to do it back up again, you slide the stopper in to the bottom, and then you can just do the zipper up again. So these kind of zippers are used for jackets, hoodies, coats, anything where you have to open the front completely and pull it apart to get into it, basically. You can buy these cut to size. I can't remember how long this one is now, but it's pretty long. I think it's probably 22 inches, something like that. You can shorten them. If you're going to shorten them, you don't shorten them from the bottom, you shorten them from the top. So you would measure from the bottom to get the length of zipper that you wanted, and then you would just cut straight across. So leave yourself a little bit of leeway, cut straight across, and then again you can either buy stoppers that you can clamp onto the edges, you can melt the teeth very carefully with a lighter, or you can use a whip stitch by hand and just whip around the edges of the teeth. So you would just pick the tooth you wanted to go round, and you would just sew a whip stitch around it backwards and forwards, under and over, to kind of make up a bulky bit there that the zipper teeth can't get past, and that would then stop you going any further than that. Any teeth that are left above it, you can use needle nose pliers and you can pop them off. It's a little bit fiddly, but I find it quite a cathartic thing to do, popping the teeth off a zipper myself. So that's an open-ended zipper, and again you get different kinds. So this is similar but quite a bit longer, and then this one is quite a meaty one. So this I bought to make a hoodie for myself. You can see in comparison to these ones, it's a much chunkier zipper. So this would be proper outdoor wear for a nice big chunky hoodie, or kind of a waterproof jacket, something like that. And this one is really long. It goes on and end, but it still has the open-ended edge to the bottom of it, so I can still use it as a coat zipper. So for that kind of zipper, you can still use your regular zipper foot, which we had at the beginning, which is this one here. The other kind of zipper foot that's also quite useful to have in your arsenal is this, which is an adjustable zipper foot. And the idea behind the adjustable zipper foot is, as its name would imply, this is the little clamp where the shank goes on when you're attaching it to your sewing machine, so that the little shank would go in there. And then this ski, which is quite kind of floppy, so you have to be careful with it, but it's on a screw here at the back, and you can use the screw to decide how far in or how far away you want to be, so that you can get a really personal fit for the zip, depending on whether you're sewing on a really big thick zip or whether you're sewing on a much finer, narrower zip. This gives you the same sort of ski that you can sew down the side of the zip to get nice and close to, but you can really choose yourself with the screw at the back just how far away from the needle you want your ski and therefore your zipper to be, depending on the width and the chunkiness of the zipper that you're sewing on. So that's an adjustable zipper foot, and again, they're not very expensive if you buy the generic ones. Otherwise, branded ones, if you wanted to get one for your machine, would be a little bit more pricey, but they're just quite a useful thing to have in your sewing arsenal, so to speak. So that's zippers. So we've covered open-ended zippers for putting into coats. We've covered invisible zippers for sewing into dresses, blouses, that kind of thing. We've covered continuous zippers that you can cut to size for the length that you want. And we've covered regular zippers for sewing into pouches and things like that. So this kind of bag, which is the free pouch on the website, that's just got a regular zipper sewn into with little stoppers, fabric stoppers either end to get a nice finish, and that's just a regular zipper sewn into that particular pouch. So I'll pop the link to that in the details for the blog as well, but that's a nice little zipper pouch that you can use when you're sewing regular zippers at home. And then we've covered the 3 different types of zipper feet that I like to use when I'm attaching them to the garments that I'm making. So hopefully you found that helpful, and it's given you a good rundown on the kind of zippers you might be sewing, a few little tips on how to deal with them and how to get the best results and the right kind of feet to use. I'm going to be covering later on a video that shows you how to install a regular zipper and how to install an invisible zipper as well, and that should give you everything you need to be able to go out and have a little play and see what you can come up with next. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.